Let's get you started on Airbnb. I'm sure you've heard all the stories about people making 6 or 7 figures a year using the Airbnb platform. So today, I'm going to teach you how you can start an Airbnb business. So step by step, how to start an Airbnb business from scratch and the option of not buying property if you want to do what's called rental arbitrage. My name is Sean Rakijich. I have over 100 properties on Airbnb making millions of dollars a year, and I have some students who are also making millions of dollars a year. This is something that can be taught, something that you can learn, something that you can do quickly. It's not that hard. So let's make it simple in this video, step by step, how to start an Airbnb business from scratch. Let's jump in. First, thank you for choosing this video. There's many you could watch on the internet on this topic. I'm happy to be your instructor. My name's Sean Rakijich. Host of 7 years, I've made over $10 million on the Airbnb platform. My specialty is rental arbitrage. I will tell you, if you want to buy a property, there are real estate agent / educators in the market as well who can help you better understand how to comp an Airbnb purchase, one of them being my very good friend Sean Ray here in Dallas, Texas as well. Now, I can teach you how to Airbnb anywhere in the world because it's roughly the same no matter where you go. I have properties all over the country, Texas and Philadelphia, and I'm expanding internationally this year, Mexico City, Medellin, Colombia. The very first step to starting an Airbnb business is to simply form a business. Go online and file a single member LLC. You can do this in any state. You do not need to choose a special one because your LLC in Texas or in Delaware or Nevada or Wyoming can do business in other states. So start one in your home state. There are reasons to start an LLC in Delaware, but those are really high-level conversations that really don't apply to Airbnb hosts for the most part. So keep it simple and form one online. You do not need to pay an attorney to do it. Here in Texas, we go to the Secretary of State website and file an LLC online. It is a few steps, but you'll figure it out. And it will save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The reason why you start an LLC first before you get into the rest of the business is as an LLC gets older, it becomes more creditworthy. And you're going to be applying for things through that company, so you want an older LLC. In Canada, you can form a corporation as well. You don't need to do a federal one. You can do one in the province that you're in, and that is simple enough. The same best practice applies to anywhere else in the world. Start a business first and do business through that business. If you're going to buy a property to Airbnb, there will be a point that you need to detour and go through the creditworthiness process and discuss with a lender the possibility of getting a mortgage through your LLC or buying a home and then assigning it to your LLC after it's purchased. The next step will be market research. You should choose where you want to start an Airbnb business. Now, you have the option of moving or starting remotely, but every single person who comes across my path, I tell them, if at all possible, start in your backyard because you know more about your hometown than any other business, any other large business does. See, I do Airbnb for a living, and I can do Airbnb better than 99% of the people out there. But I don't know Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know Columbus, Ohio. I don't know Pensacola, Florida, like some of you do. If they are your hometown, you'll know way more about those cities, where people travel, why they travel there, how long they might typically stay, what kind of customer types are there. One of the biggest parts of doing market research is understanding a customer type. And this gets into the deeper parts of marketing, which can get kind of difficult. I do have a video on finding the best cities to Airbnb if you really don't like your hometown. It's okay if you don't like your hometown. Market research is next. So I will put in the body of this video my masterclass on market research. That way you can choose to leave if you want to. But even if you do decide to start your Airbnb business where you live, you will want to choose the right size property in the right neighborhood. And that, of course, is a longer video as well. And let me link that below. But to give you the fast facts, the biggest tips for doing market research, you are usually going to look for where you can find a lack of hosts in an area, where a property size is underserviced, or where the listings in a certain area just tend to always get booked. If you can find a neighborhood where the demand is greater than the current supply, you're in it to win it. For example, we'll find that in most cities, there aren't enough properties that can sleep 12 or more people. You'll see a bunch of properties that can sleep 4, 5, 6, 8 people, but the moment you're searching on Airbnb and you go from searching for 8 guests to searching for 9, you might find that inventory just kind of drops off a cliff. And if you discover, like while searching around your neighborhoods to see if there's, enough properties at certain sizes, if you discover that there's all of a sudden far less 4-bedroom houses than there are 3-bedroom houses, that's a good indicator that you should start with a 4-bedroom house. But if there are a certain cluster of points of interest, tourist attractions, like the American Airlines Center here or the Empire State Building, things that people go and visit, if you find that there's a neighborhood that is really close to medical centers, universities, business districts, tourist attractions like convention centers, concert halls, there's a lot of that in a very tight area, and you go to search on Airbnb for, say, last-minute stays. You're going to search this weekend for a place to stay for 3 people, and if you notice that the only stuff available is stuff that really doesn't look attractive, if all of the normal listings are booked up, that's a sign that there's a lot of demand in that area, and that the only thing not getting booked is stuff that people don't want. If you do have a neighborhood that looks like it's always getting booked, now take away the search dates and search again without the dates and let all of the listings in the area pop up. Start looking at listings that have a lot of reviews. Those listings that have a lot of reviews are the ones that are getting all the action. Now you're going to do something called competitor research. You're going to look at the photos, the description, the price, if they have a minimum night stay, things like this, and you're going to write it all down. You're going to make a profile and maybe 10 total listings in that area, and you're going to determine why people like these listings. So search for 5 or 10 listings that have a high number of reviews and a high quality of reviews and start going through them systematically, taking notes on everything. You're going to find out in the description who they are trying to sell. In the description, they will tell you why it's cool to stay there. They will help you understand what customer that they are selling. You'll see in the quality of photos what it is that they're offering. Do they have a pool? Do they have a hot tub? Do they have king-size beds? What's their kitchen look like? Things like this. Now you get to learn what makes a great Airbnb while doing competitor research, because your next step to starting an Airbnb business is to copy the market leaders. If you can find a type of product that is commonly getting purchased, the best thing to do is copy them. Because what we find in the Airbnb space is that really most markets are still underserviced. There are still not enough Airbnbs in almost all markets. There are a few exceptions. I have properties in Houston, and this winter was pretty rough because they keep canceling events like the rodeo. So we're banking on the rodeo this year coming back, bringing life back into the city, and hopefully from end of February on, we can be back to business as usual. But COVID-19 has affected a lot of things. What you should know about COVID-19, though, is it's been great for Airbnb hosts and bad for hotels. The sentiment around travel has changed. It hasn't taken away the want or need to travel, just how people are choosing to. So there are a lot more regional vacations, a lot more staycations going on, a lot more work remote, monthly stays, and people, when they travel, they prefer to stay in a home or apartment instead of getting crammed into a hotel. People are a little bit more scared of the sardine effect of being in a hotel. So this is great for Airbnb hosts. This is great for you. Something to note at this point, smaller properties will cost less money to start. They make less total revenue, but your percentage of profit or your cash-on-cash return or your return on investment can largely be the same. If you decide to go for studio apartments, one-bedroom apartments, and small listings, you should make your business plan today to get a lot of them over a period of time. If you can get 10 or 20 studio apartments, you can create this very uniform, process-driven company where you can hire your own housekeepers and train your own housekeepers and pay them by the hour instead of by the cleaning. If you don't think you're good at leadership and managing people and building a company full of people, then maybe going with houses will be a better bet for you. Because houses, even though they cost more money to start, more money for furniture overall and stuff like that, the amount of cleanings that it will take to run your business will be less. So you can use professional housekeeping companies and pay them what they want. And even though you won't be optimizing your cleaning fee, you'll still be making a ton of margin per night. And that way, you can build a business based on the experience with very few internal people within your company if you focus on houses. This is a small nuance that will matter a year or two from now if you're dedicated to this business. Now, that isn't a simple topic, but it is one that you should consider as you grow your company, because I doubt that you're here just to have one property, right? You either will have 5 or 10 houses or 30 or 50 apartments one day if you do this the way that I did this, and you can. My rule of thumb for profit is $800 per month per bedroom. So a studio apartment should make you at least $800 per month. A 4-bedroom house should net income you $3,200 per month or more. Your investment, of course, scales up. I tend to find that we spend about $5,000 to $7,000 per studio, and you can add about $2,000 per bedroom from there. So a 2-bedroom might cost you $9,000. A 3-bedroom costs you $11,000. 4-bedroom costs you $13,000. And that is for a very dry, straightforward, center of the market type of property in most cities. If you go luxury and add things like hot tubs and pool tables, you will spend a lot more money on your place. Now, I have some friends who've decided to go full glam, and I'll actually see if I can show you some photos right now of this full glam type of listing. And these listings can cost $30,000 to $50,000 in build out, but they're going for $1,000 a night on these houses. And with that amount of margin, you can recuperate your investment. So I would say, aside from your profit rule for the straightforward listings, you should make your aim to earn your money back, get a return on your cash within 4 months. If you put $20,000 into a property, the numbers should make sense that you'll make $20,000 in profit within 4 months. If you're going to invest $5,000 into a listing, you should have a plan to make $5,000 in profit within 4 months. Now, this is the fun part. There is a hack to make extra profit to get your money back faster. And that is only if you decide not to buy your property. So if you want to buy a property, I again refer you to my friend Sean Ray, the realtor. He's really good at investing in Airbnb purchases, but I really staunchly disagree with the concept of buying a property if you want to run an Airbnb business. I will tell you right now, before I give you this hack on how to make a ton of extra profit in this business, I will found this tip and this hack on this idea that I need you to understand. When you're starting a business, it's about what the business will make. If you're going to invest in real estate, that is about protecting your money and putting into something that's not cash or currency, and building wealth through investing in real estate. Those are two separate topics. If you want to buy real estate, watch Bigger Pockets. If you want to run an Airbnb business, watch Airbnb Automated. Now, you can do both together, but you should not make your goals of running an Airbnb business hinge upon buying a property. If you're serious about starting an Airbnb business, the most return on investment, the most cash on cash, the highest profit you'll ever make is by renting property from other people and then putting that property in Airbnb, because the amount of money it costs to get started is 25% or 20% of owning the property. And with how much margin you make per property, you'll make about 3 times as much money by not owning the property on average. And that's huge. So here's the hack. If you want to make money faster than anybody else in the Airbnb space, you're going to learn to sell and learn to negotiate. You're going to find a landlord that you can convince to let you Airbnb, and then you're going to convince them to give you 2 months of rent for free on the front end. This is called a front end lease concession. Lease concessions are common, where people will give you a discount on rent, no security deposit, they'll waive the app or admin fee, they'll do things like this. Now, sometimes places will advertise a front end lease concession where the first 2 months of rent are free. This is something that you can convince a landlord to do. And there's many reasons why you can convince them to do this, but this is a sale. And a fun fact, my longest career has been as a sales manager helping newspapers stay in business. And so if there's anything I'm really good at, it's selling. So I'm going to include videos that I've also done on this YouTube channel on how to sell and how to negotiate with landlords. So that way you can get to learning. The very first 2 things you should spend a lot of time on is studying sales and studying market research if you're getting into the rental arbitrage space. Otherwise, you should be doing market research, and then you should be looking up the mortgage process as a business and how to buy a property and then put it under an LLC. Now, here's a tip for you too. If you are really serious about this business, you should buy 2 LLCs. See, one should own property or one should hold leases. You've got the property side. Like I said, investing in real estate is a different animal. Then you have another LLC or another business that is the short-term rental operations business. See, most people that buy property already know that you should put like an LLC between you and the property if you're a landlord, so people don't sue you, the person. They'll just sue the LLC that owns the house, things like that. So holding leases under one LLC gives your liability to the landlord under that LLC. Then having an LLC run the Airbnb business, your liability to the guests is under that LLC. You're separating your risk in a way into easy baskets. At this point, you have your LLC, you've done research to know what city you like, what neighborhoods you like, and what type of property will do well in those neighborhoods. You now also have either set up the purchase of a property to Airbnb, or you've convinced a landlord to allow you to Airbnb. And at this point, you're going to be staging the place, buying the furniture, setting it up, and taking photos. I've recorded 600 videos on this YouTube channel over the course of 5 years. There's not a single resource on the internet to match the freeness and the thoroughness and the fullness of this YouTube channel. You are on the right spot to learn how to Airbnb. So again, I'm going to add more videos for your step-by-step getting started on Airbnb at the bottom. How to stage, how to take photos, where to buy your stuff. You want to set a budget for your staging based on how well you want your place to look, and you want to make sure you don't go over budget, and you want to make sure that you don't spend too much time setting it up. Because if you take a month to set up a place, that is a whole month that you had control of a property that you weren't making money. And if you're renting a place 1 month of a lease not making money is burning your profit. So there's going to be some considerations here. Now, trust me, it might sound overwhelming, but if you do everything step by step, you really only have to focus on doing one thing well at a time. And there are companies that can help you stage if you're really bad at that. If you're like me, a guy, and you aren't so good at furnishing a place, and trust me, my very first Airbnbs at the turn of 2015 did not look good. They looked exactly like a college boy putting a place on Airbnb. That's exactly what they looked like. And I made it. And so even if you're a guy without any design sense or a female who needs to catch up too, you can find a professional company to do this for you. So there are resources at every turn, professional staging companies, professional housekeeping companies. There are even co-hosts that can manage property for you. So if you're watching this video because you're an owner who owns 10 or 15 properties and you want to move them into the Airbnb space, there are companies like mine who will run them for you for a percentage of revenue. And that's something called co-hosting, and it's totally normal as well. So if you want to start your Airbnb business though as the operator, you can eventually get into the co-hosting business. On that point, I will advise it's better to get your own properties first, pay the rent or buy them, learn the ropes, and make a portfolio to prove that you know what you're doing, and then sell people on getting them to give you a property for profit share. If you know what you're doing and you can prove it with numbers, you can start using other people's property, other people's money, other people's risk to start generating value for them, and that is called co-hosting. I think it's the hardest type of deal to get, but it's the coolest type of deal to get because, again, you're putting no skin in the game at that point. The landlord will buy the furniture, the landlord will cover all the costs, you get a percentage of the revenue, and everybody's happy. And that is a really cool long way, like a long game play for this type of business model. I imagine you have so many questions, and I'm here to answer them. You put those questions in the comments, and I will answer those questions for you. I've done this for 5 years. Yes, my video content is largely free because I feel like it should be whenever possible. So yes, there's no catch to this video. There's no catch to asking me questions. And I actually invite you to join my Facebook group. I have a free Facebook group that's got maybe 30,000 people in it at this point. It's called the Hosts of Airbnb Automated. Of course, people who watch this YouTube channel. And there's tons of success stories. I've got students who've learned for free, who have 50, 60 properties now, and they've never given me $1 for coaching. And they are that successful. And that's proof that you can be too. So join the Facebook group, the Hosts of Airbnb Automated. Reach out to me in the comment section and enjoy more videos on this channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the other side.